So what I'm going to do from my desktop computer, I'm going to go through project folders and some files on the Claude co-work project that I've been working on. That's startupfinancialplan.ai. All of the project folders are in the root directory of my laptop computer, and it's called Claude Project. And I won't have time to go through all of this. Maybe 10 or 12 minutes. We'll go through all kind of a tour of the project folders and files that make up this software development project for startupfinancialplan.ai. Uh, the AI agent on Claude Cowork is going to it will create a lot of the project folders, and they have a number in front of them. And as a project manager, I find myself having to create my own folders down through here. I'll kind of scan down. And a lot of these were just for very specific, like recruiting someone for a beta test, or developing a business plan for the legal people, or setting up a case study example to go through testing. Or then I had something called interim sessions where there was some glitches, and I go back to the AI agent, things like this. And I have a technical person that helps me out, the technical lead support person as well. It doesn't have to do much, but it kind of backs me up just in case. It's good to have a human person involved. And then some high level requirements like SOC 2 compliance is way off into the future, may not even happen. By the way, this is an interesting point. It's worth making note of. There are some files that are in the root directory of the project. These files help onboard the AI agent every time I have a session. Sessions are once a week on Mondays with the AI agent, which is Claude Cowork. And you have to onboard a new AI agent with each session. So really, you need to have some of these documents, like I'll go ahead and open this up. Communication contract, for example, is just some of the rules of the road. I'll close this because I haven't updated the software yet. But this is just rules of the road that you want the AI agent to follow when it interacts with you as the software project manager. So it knows that, we try to follow a single path. UI, user interface, and UX design are really, really, really important. Communicate in basic plain English. Different rules like compress things for faster execution. Try to avoid any reworks or reactivities so that the project is really working really well. So these are kind of rules of the road that you want to establish early on with the AI agent, as well as it needs to know what's going on session to session, because on next Monday, the next AI agent will be new. It won't know, well, what happened in the last session? I have no idea. What happened in the last session? Okay, well, the last session was on June. It was session 10, June 22nd. This is the last session. So it'll know what happened, what went on in session 10. And so it kind of gives a synopsis of everything that went on. I went through apps 1 through 4 was functional testing, is substantially complete. And basically what happens is I have a session agenda, and I give it's prompt activity 2, prompt activity 1. These are prompt activities. So I set up an agenda, go through prompt activities with it. And there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 prompt activities in session 10 where I went through certain things I wanted fixed and done. I needed to answer 3 artifacts and update 3 artifacts. The AI agent QC quality control reviews it, makes 2 minor corrections before we put it into the project files. Give it an update on, oops, I didn't mean to do that. I'll undo that. Undo. Anyway, undo. And then, so I'm just doing functional testing to see where I'm at. I want the AI agent to know where I'm at in the project lifecycle. I made some changes to how we want to do the inventory. We need to track inventory. So this is really a new functional requirement. Then I'm working with Gavin, who's the technical support person. I gave him a new assignment, and so that's it basically. So that way you have a record of the last session, and the new AI agent will know what to do. So this is kind of important to have these in your root directory. I won't go. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here. I'm not going to go through everything. Like a project charter is usually when you start off a project and you have a sponsor and people funding the project. And also, every folder, if it has too many versions, the older versions, I told the AI agent to simply stick it into an archive folder so that only the most recent version shows up in the main folder, and archive the old version so it's a clean process. AI agents also are very good at giving you a README file to explain what exactly is in the folder and what it is, what's the purpose of it. So if you start off new and you don't know a thing about what the hell's going on, you start off with the README file first to understand what the hell is this all about. So that's a good place. Current state of the project, requirements. Requirements is where basically the change orders come from. I'll drill down on the requirements, the staging requirement folder later. Communications with the hosting agent, the decision log, every decision, every major decision. I'll open this up so you can see it. It won't hurt to see it. Decision 1, decision 2, decision 3, the date, topic, decision, rationale. I'll expand it a little bit so you can kind of see what's going on a little bit. And all of this, and I'm the project manager. It's a decision made by the project. I'm the guy doing all the decisions. I'm the project manager and the AI agents, and you can see all the different decisions are being made and kept in a log. And that really is kind of useful because the AI agents need to know what's going on, or anybody who comes onto the project, or share it with a new person who's on the project team, like Gavin, who's my technical person in France. Build and validations, the build outs and validations. We want to align the change orders to maybe a new roadmap for getting the minimum viable product done. Let's go ahead. Let's drill into a little bit of a detail here on this. So what happens here is MVP is minimum viable product. That's the first release of the software to validate if there's really, quote, market traction or justification to really build it all the way out. So we don't want to build out the deluxe version of the software. But the other thing is we're building too many things all at once. So to get to the minimum viable product, I kind of forced a little bit of discipline, and we basically imposed a lot more toll gates. Like, I don't know if you can see toll gate number 1, which basically says you need to perform functional testing, get all the functional testing for apps, input apps 1 through 4, get to what I actually called it FOC, full operational capability. You got to pass through FOC, full operational capability toll gate, to get to the next build, which is app 5, the trial balance. So you can see once we did all this, it put a lot more phases and toll gates and steps into the process to get to the minimum viable product release, which is MVP release readiness is in phase 20, literally, then post MVP. So you can see that's what we're doing. We're trying to put more discipline into the life cycle with toll gates for the first release, which is what's called minimum viable products. So you get an idea. This is really the real, and this is where all the change orders take place. So execution for changes in software development goes through the change order, and there's a lot in here. I don't have time to go through all of it. The backlog. Um, let's see. That's the super agent over the hosting platform. Every time I interact with the super agent, I document the response. Now, all of the change orders are in a single large document. So the software development project is startupfinancialplan.ai, hosted on Base 44 platform. And all the change orders I got to execute are all listed in here. So the next 2 change orders next Monday will be these 2, tier 1. Then I have to complete all the functional testing, all the other stuff. So I'm not ready to do any of this other stuff, like the administrative panel. I'm not ready to do that. The accounting software integration probably will be deferred. that'll be deferred way down. So that's deferred way downstream. We may not ever do that. Depends on whether there's really marketability. This unit cost calculator and sales price calculator will be deferred to a future release, not the MVP. It's probably too soon. So this breaks down all the change orders you're going to build out beyond the MVP, everything, right down to local storage versus do I store it on a database. So some of these issues, dynamic scenario analysis is to build later in the future. So this is all the stuff that you got to build out over the entire life cycle, even beyond the MVP. So there's a lot to it. And let's see what else. So this is where a lot of the action takes place, is in the administrative submissions. The administrative person is me, project manager. We may have non-functional NFRs, non-functional requirements like a privacy statement. So that requires, for example, I had to do a business plan with a lawyer so that she can help develop the privacy statements and the consent agreement that the users have to sign with the beta test. So there's some legal things you have to go through as well as technical requirements. It's not all that simple. So the case study is where I do the functional testing. This is what I'm currently doing right now. And I'll have probably more than one case study. Let's go ahead and I'll just drill in so you can see the case. Let's just go through the functional tests. So functional tests are performed before the beta test. So the software has to be really, really, truly ready to go end to end. That requires that I have 4 input apps: App 1, App 2, App 3, App 4. All 4 input apps have to be full FOC, full operational capability. They have to pass through various functional tests. Did it calculate correctly? Did it export the PDF file correctly? Did it carry forward the company name and year correctly for the previous app? You got to test every little stupid thing. Has to be perfect. Perfect. And you have to test everything. And if something can't be tested, then we capture it in an open item and it gets deferred. It may be deferred because maybe I might defer it to the beta test, or in many cases, a lot of this is deferred until I build out the trial balance. Okay, so this functional test is really, really detailed, very important. And by the way, some of these things, it took 3 passes to get them debugged. Like the PDF file export didn't work at first, so I had to go around and around with app number 1 3 times before I could close it out. So sometimes the functional test can be quite grueling in detail and a real grind, but you got to work it out with the apps and the super agent on the hosting platform, and you got to get it fully operational as best as you can. And you got to go probably through more than one case study with variations, because this is a simple product company. Now I'm going to do maybe a professional service firm that has user-generated general ledger accounts. I'm going to throw some more variation at it in case study 2 to see how it can handle it. So you have to get it all right with all the variations. Not easy to do. So the functional testing is quite detailed. The requirements is also a very involved process. And like this session, I came up with what's called a functional requirement specification document to help figure out how to track inventory, because it was a missing gap. Functional requirement specification for tracking the inventory, which was missing in the trial balance and the balance sheet. So I gave it a case study example that was complete with that one gap, and Claude Code at 2 o'clock in the morning, because it could be a 1 or 2 hour session. That's how I get my requirements developed. And you can see there's all kinds of there's a lot of requirements that goes in here. And these all get translated into change orders, change orders, change orders. Some of them are deferred, some of them are part of the MVP. So this is very involved, very detailed, and you have to know what you're doing. So anyway, I hope you found that useful. That's a very quick, dirty tour of the project files and overview how it actually works. And again, you can reach out to me. Startupfinancialplan.ai is where there's a landing page for this. And you can reach out, send me an email if you have questions or anything like that. Thank you for your time and listening.